Good evening, and welcome to A Grieving Mother's Journey, Lakeland, where we air every Sunday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. with open mic every third Sunday from 6:20 to 6:50 p.m. We bring grieving mothers together to share, trust, and bond with one another and to spread awareness of the pain that is caused when others choose to take a life by violence and the various struggles we face on a daily basis just to make it through the day. I hope that this will make those that are on that horrible path think twice and turn their lives around. Welcome. Hey, everybody. Let me put my headphones on here. Welcome to another episode of A Grieving Mother's Journey. We are on episode 15. Tonight we will have a guest. Her name is Deborah, and she will be speaking on, she'll be telling her story about the loss of her son. Fentanyl struck once again. She is one of our very own group members, and she is brave enough to come on board and share her story with you. So when we open the phone lines, later on, please feel free to, call in. If her story resonates with you, you can, share and bond with one another. If not, you can always just come in, call in, and share some words of encouragement. It's really important that all of us as grieving mothers, we kind of support one another. And that's the thing I like about this group is all of our members are so supportive, so comforting. It's amazing. And it's such a big help for all of us. So feel free to call in and say hello to her when the lines are open. So before I bring Deborah on board, I just want to make an announcement. I have a couple of announcements. So next week, we are going to have a guest that is, the topic is basically going to be about the loss of your significant other, whether it's a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a husband, a wife. So she's going to speak on that. She will be in the studio. So if there's someone out there that wants to join and speak about their loss of their loved one, meaning a spouse or, just a significant other, girlfriend, boyfriend, what have you, feel free to come on in and join us and share your story as well. Just go ahead and send me an email that's scrolling at the bottom of the link, and then we'll just kind of take it from there. And that's coming next week. And I have another announcement. So I know everybody really enjoyed Dr. Adia, that episode, Anger Consumes Me, a little while back. She has agreed to come back. And there's a group member, I don't remember who it was, but if you are listening, you'll know who you are, made a suggestion when I had posted if anybody had any suggestions for a topic. And one of the members had mentioned that they would like to hear something about forgiveness. Well, guess what? You got your wish. And Dr. Adia is going to come on October 27th, and she's going to speak about that. And of course, later on, I'll advertise for that. But keep in mind, she's amazing. The episode she did with Anger Consumes Me was our top video for forever and still is pretty popular. So, and don't forget, guys, all of the podcasts that we have done, you can always go back and watch anytime you want. They're not going anywhere, with the exception of just a few, like when I first started, didn't have the program and I was using live instead. Those will only be on the Facebook group page. But everything else from the time that I started using this program up until now, you can view on either one, YouTube or on the Facebook group page. So welcome, everyone. And hey, Kay's here already. So thank you for joining, everyone. Don't forget to share, invite anyone that you know that is grieving, that could benefit from this group, and go ahead and invite them in. It's a public group. They don't have to be a guest if they don't want. If they want to just come in and reap the benefits of watching the podcast or just interacting and bonding with any of our members, they're more than welcome to do so. So, Don't forget the phone lines will be open, but please wait for the cue so our guest can go ahead and share her story. So, with that said, without further ado, I am going to introduce you to Deborah. Welcome, Deborah.
Hello.
How's it
How y'all
going?
doing? It's going good.
Good, good. Thank you again so much for taking the time to come on and share your story with our group members, and hopefully, to touch somebody. We really do appreciate it. It's difficult. I know it's difficult. I'm a grieving mom too, so I know it can be difficult. And before we get started, hey, Crystal, I love you too. And she says to thank you for all that's joined. And Kay says, welcome, Deborah. And just to give you a
Thank you.
little bit of insight, so Crystal and Kay, they are both my admins, wonderful admins. They help a lot with this group. Running a group can be time consuming, but it's something I love doing as long as I'm
Yeah.
helping somebody. So they help out with that. Very pleasant, and they're there to also take care of our members as well. Kay is my oldest daughter, and Crystal is my daughter-in-law.
Oh,
Kind
okay.
of a family affair here.
Yeah.
So again, welcome. If you want to just go ahead and start a little bit, just tell a little bit about yourself, and we can go ahead and get into the story.
Well, my name is Deborah Tefteller. Uh, my son, Todd White Jr., he's been gone 4.5 years. He passed away on February 28th of 2020 from fentanyl poisoning. Uh, he had been cleanish, I gotta say, for about a year and a half.
Wow.
And he, uh, he decided to get a pill one night and on February 27th, and that was the last pill he got. You know, he had came, he was downstairs because he slept upstairs. I'm in his room now.
Oh,
Uh, he had told me, he said, "Good night, Bird. I love you," because he always called me Bird.
oh I
Yeah,
love that. I
yeah.
love that.
So I told him, I said, "Well, good night. I love you too, son." I said, "I'll see you in the morning." Well, morning still ain't came. You know, still ain't came because I didn't see him again. I wouldn't. Uh, I wouldn't come upstairs. My husband's the one that found him. Uh,
Oh,
I had originally sent my husband up here to wake Todd up to call his brother and everything so he could go get his check. And anybody can believe this. You don't have to. But I'm gonna tell you a story that's it's I'll probably start crying. But
it's okay. Hey,
anyway,
it's no judgment zone, right? We're here for
yep,
you.
I was laying on my bed because I'd had heartburn that morning and I didn't want to, get up, move around and everything. And I asked Leonard, who is my husband, I asked him, I said, "Will you go up, wake Todd up, and have him call Robert and everything?" He said, "Yeah, no problem." Honey, I had no reason to believe that my son had passed away or anything else. I
Absolutely.
I was laying there. Leonard went out of the room and up the steps. And I guess probably time he got up here, I just felt this calm feeling all over my body.
Oh,
And I heard a voice say, "I've got your baby boy in my arms. He's okay now." That was
oh,
God. Who else? You know,
absolutely, absolutely.
I
Yes.
I got up off that bed. I walked out in the hallway, and Leonard was coming down the steps then, and he was just holding on, coming down. And I just looked at him. I said, "He's gone, ain't he?" And he looked at me and he said, "Yeah." He said, "How did you know?" I said,
Oh,
"God just told me he's got him in his arms."
it was absolutely.
I, I absolutely. If it hadn't have been for that, if it had not been for God that morning, you wouldn't see me sitting here
Yeah,
at
I
all
totally can relate.
and everything. Because I mean, it just I wouldn't have been able to handle it. I done very well. I I've got three other boys, older
Okay.
and everything than Todd. He was the baby. And they took over. They knew that I wasn't going to be able to
Mm-hmm.
handle making arrangements and everything. And so between those three, they done well. Actually, the two oldest really did. The third one, he was a basket case.
Oh.
Uh,
Was the
but
third one closer to your son's age?
yes, he was the third. He's my third child
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything. And
Mm-hmm.
plus, he slept in the room straight across from Todd. You know, so but they Robert and Jason, my two oldest boys, they done all the arrangements and everything, and they had told me, they said, "Mom, Todd wanted to be cremated."
Okay. Did
Said
you
he,
agree with that?
and I told him, I said, "Whatever your brother told you, that's what we're going to go with.
Mm-hmm.
You go by his wishes. If you know
Mm-hmm.
his wishes, you go by them." So that's what they done and everything. And but my oldest son, he wanted him to have a viewing before the cremation.
Oh, yeah.
He said, "Mama," he said, "one thing about it though," he said, "Todd didn't want it." He said, "But I want people to be able to say bye to him." And
Absolutely. I did that with my son as well.
did you? And I told him, I said, "Well, go
Yes.
ahead."
We had the
I,
whole service first and then he was
yep.
cremated.
I was not able to go to the service. And
Oh.
Todd knew this. Todd knew that if he ever passed away, that before I did, that Mama wouldn't be there at the service because she can't handle that. I wouldn't be
Oh.
able to handle it because
Yeah.
I didn't go to my mother's. And uh, so Todd completely understood that. He knew that way before, and everything. So I know he felt all right with it, and everything. Uh, he had a big fascination with duct tape, and his favorite color was green. I swear to you,
Wow.
we're
Oh.
still finding things of his that's duct taped up. Okay, for preservation, I'm reckoning. But before the viewing, there was a lot of people that come by the house to see me before they went there, and I had a roll of green duct tape, and I'd tear a little piece off about like that, and I'd put it on him, and I wrote Todd's initials on it.
Oh.
So, and then my one of my granddaughters had I gave her the tape to take to the funeral home, and she continued doing it for everybody that didn't already have it. But Todd was very hardworking, and the dreams he had, and he would write everything down. He wrote his hopes and dreams down, on paper. I've got them. I treasure them always now.
Oh, yes,
Uh,
indeed.
he his actual the taking of pills actually started when he was like 4 years old, 4 or 5 years old. I can't remember exact age. Uh, but he had me and his dad was taking him to Shriners Hospital in Kentucky. He had he kept hurting in his hip or
Oh.
in his back and in his neck and everything, having real bad migraines. So I had took him to Children's Hospital here in Knoxville,
Uh-huh.
and excuse me, the first doctor we seen, I swear to you, he done some X-rays, and he came back and he told me, he says, and I was sitting there by myself to beat it all, and he looked at me and he says, "I need to tell you, I believe Todd has bone cancer."
Oh my gosh.
I just kind of looked at him and I was like, "You can tell
Mm.
all that from the few X-rays you've done?" He said, "Yes, ma'am, I believe I can." He said, "We need to do more testing." I said, "Well, be blunt, you're damn right."
Mm-hmm.
You know, I said, "You're not going to come in this room and tell me that my 4-year-old child has bone cancer
Mm.
after seeing him for just a few minutes and doing some X-rays." I said, "I need a second opinion." And I'd called
Right.
Todd's dad. He was at work, and I called him, told him what he said. And he said, I'll be over in a minute. So he came over, and we started talking to another doctor. And we had seen this doctor several times afterwards and everything. Todd did not have bone cancer, okay?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, did not. We took him to, somebody suggested that we might take him to Shriners up in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
So we did, and uh, found out that he actually had a indention in his right hip that he was probably born with, the doctor said. And it
Okay.
made one leg just, I mean, just a little bit shorter than the other one. Not that we could tell, but
Right.
if you looked at him then, you could tell Tom would kind of, one shoulder would be up a little higher
Right.
and everything. And whoever's in there go out. So we uh we continued seeing them, and that's where the migraines was coming from, the back, his spine, everything
Okay.
was stemming from that because of the way he was having to walk. And they told us as riders that he'd never be able to play sports or be a normal kid. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to accept this answer either. So we done a little bit more research, and we started taking him to a chiropractor over here in Knoxville. And let me tell you, that man, uh, he worked wonders. He took him off the hydrocodone. Like I said,
Okay.
he was only 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah,
Took him
that's
off of
that's
it.
that's a pretty strong
Yeah,
medication. There you go, honey.
yep,
For a 4-year old.
yep. But they took it. The chiropractor suggested we take him off of it, and he said, "I want to see him 5 days a week and everything." So I'd take him in every morning, Monday through Friday. He would do an adjustment on Todd. Todd was good to go the rest of the day. We done that for a while, and when he started school, kindergarten, we would do it 2 or 3 times a week, until we could get it down to 1 day a week, in which he
Mm-hmm.
did. And Todd done great. You know, like I said, he came off the medications. Todd played football. Todd played baseball. He done all the sports and done great as a child. Now he still had his migraines every now and then and stuff.
Okay.
As he got older, he started really having them real bad, and he would go get adjustments himself, as an adult. But he even learned how to. I'm
Oh,
like,
he learned how to
yeah,
do that himself.
yeah. He'd be sitting there and he'd go crack, and he'd go crack, and I'd go,
Oh my
"Oh
goodness.
Lord, don't do that, son." He said, "Mom, I'm all right. I do it all the time." I'm like, "Okay, you go, you do you then." But
Oh.
yeah, he used to do all kinds of stuff like that. He was Tom was very intelligent, you know.
So do you think the fact that he was given the other medication at such a young age, do you think this is what kind of moved him into the fentanyl, or was the when he took the fentanyl that night, was that his first time taking fentanyl?
Todd did not mess with fentanyl. He was poisoned. He had got a Xanax is what he got. And well, that's what he was buying was a Xanax. But it
He
was uh pressed with fentanyl. Now Todd always was very open with us about drugs that he done. He didn't we had a very close relationship,
hmm
and he could when Todd was straight, clean, he could tell me what he had done and everything. And I never once ever heard him mention fentanyl. And
Oh,
as I've talked, to people, friends, and his brothers, after he passed, no, Todd never messed with fentanyl. It was poisoned. But the thing is, too, is Todd always told us. Like I said, he was very open. He said, because if one of his friends died, because I was always on Facebook, and I was friends with his friends and stuff.
Mhm.
If I told him, "Hey Todd, do you remember?" or ask him, "Do you remember so and so?" and he'd say, "Yeah." I said, "Well, they passed away of a drug overdose." He said, "That's on them." And I'd go, "Todd." He
Oh.
said, "Mom." He said, "Look at it this way." He said, "We're adults." He said, "If we're out here doing drugs from the streets," he said, "that's on us." He said, "Please don't go blaming anybody if I ever pass away of an overdose." He said, "Do not go blaming anybody." He said, "I know the risks that I
Mm.
take when I take
Wow.
it and everything." He said, "I want you to promise me you would never do that." He said, "I don't never plan on dying of an overdose, Mom." He said, "But," he said, just for sakes." And I told him, I said, "I promise you, I won't." He's, "Thank you."
So did he get the Xanax from a friend? And I mean, his intention was to take a Xanax,
Yeah.
but he got the Xanax from a friend that was laced from with fentanyl.
Yeah, but this boy did not know that he had bought the pill elsewhere.
Oh,
He didn't know. He just brung it to Todd. He didn't know what it was laced with. He didn't know that it was laced. The boy that brung it to him, he was like a brother to Todd and everything.
so
But
he's probably having a very hard time, or I'm sure it
oh,
would have
you
been.
just don't know. He, yeah, he has beat himself up about it. There is no punishment that anybody could give him that would be worse than what he's done to himself over the last 4 years and
Mm,
everything. But
wow.
and he is clean now because
That's
he was
awesome.
also an addict and he is clean and
That
everything.
is awesome.
He talks to my other sons, you know, but he doesn't. He'll talk to me through Messenger, and I'll tell him, "You need to come by and see me. I'd love to give you a hug." He doesn't. I don't think any of my boys have ever mentioned it to him that we know that he brung it over to Todd, and I haven't mentioned it to him, and I really have no intentions to unless he brings it up
Right.
and everything because I want to honor my son's wishes, you
Absolutely.
and everything.
Oh,
Even though I'd like to get a hold of the person that compressed the pill in the first place.
yeah.
There would be no
Because
forgiveness there.
there's bound to be others, if not already. You said it's been about four
Yeah,
years,
it's
so
4.5 years.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure he's gotten to others by now.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. But with Todd's death, this boy is not doing anything now. He's totally clean. He about lost his mind over it.
Hmm.
I mean,
Maybe
even
that's what Todd's purpose was on this
could
earth,
have been.
was to save his friend.
Yep, could have been. Could have been.
So, um, so how did you deal with grief? I mean, I know you're probably still grieving. There's no time limit,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
how
yeah.
did you get through the first probably year or two? Um, of your grief, and is there anything that you could share with a new grieving mother that would probably that could maybe help them through this process?
Well, the first year, it was COVID.
Oh yeah,
you
you
know,
did say 2020,
COVID
right?
hit. COVID hit like a week, 2 weeks after Todd's death. He died on February 28th, 2020. And that's when, right after that, COVID hit and everything. So I didn't have, uh, I got into, well, at the time, let me say, I was taking care of my uh, brother. He's 2 years older than I am, or was. He was a quadriplegic.
Oh,
And I brought him, he was living at my house. I brought him back home to live with me because he had been in a nursing home for about, wasn't that long before Todd's death. He was over here that night, which is really odd. And I cannot remember for the life of me, and I'm trying to, of why my brother was here that night on the 27th. Todd
Mm,
passed on the 28th.
mm,
But he got to spend time with Todd because he loved Todd. You know, he loves all my boys just like they was his own, you know.
mhm, mhm.
And him and Todd got to spend time together. And after that was my brother Roger. After one of my sons had took Roger back to the nursing home and everything, he had to because he wasn't here that morning. Because I called Roger at the nursing home to have the nurses tell him what had happened to Todd the next morning.
Yeah,
But I brought him back home after that because I knew Roger was in the nursing home grieving by himself, you know, from how
yeah.
much he loved my kid. So I brought him back home to live with me again and take care of him. And like I said, he had to have 24/7 care. You know, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you said he's a
24/7.
paraplegic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he had to be turned every two
yeah.
hours, and we had to do everything for him
Hmm.
and stuff. Well, I don't know where I was going with this.
Well, we were just basically talking about how you handled the grief the
Oh,
first few
yeah,
years, and it sounds like taking care of your brother was kind of like an outlet for you. It
yes,
kind of allowed you to focus on
uh-huh,
something else.
yeah,
Yeah.
it helped me focus on something else. I had to stay busy, so I started. I bought me a cricket, whatever you want to call it, and decided to start, making things with it. I made shirts, I made masks, and I made real good money selling them. Gave a lot of stuff away just for the heck of it. But it was stuff that kept me busy, kept my mind occupied.
Yeah.
And I done that for a while. I guess for about 2 years I done it, and take care of Roger and doing
Hmm.
that too, doing my crafts. And my I was sitting in my living room one night, and my second son and his wife came in, and I knew they was up to something. Had something big to tell me. Had their hands behind their back, and I just sat up and I looked at them. I said, "You're pregnant," and they was like, "How did you know? You ruined the surprise." I said, "Our mama knows. That baby was my saving grace.
Yeah.
I didn't. I really didn't do much crafting after that. I still took care of
Hmm.
my brother and everything, but that baby was the saving grace because I was in such a dark place.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know,
yeah. No, I know about that dark place. Now,
yeah.
did Todd, did he have any children?
Todd did not have any children,
I know, same with
but
my son.
the bond between this baby, my granddaughter, and Todd are unbelievable. She was born February the 6th of, she's 2 years old now, 23.
Okay.
And it's weird. When they first brought her home, you know, they had laid her in her little crib, and there was a picture on the wall of Todd that my son had up. And
Hmm.
she would lay there and she was staring at that picture. And just a few days old, she was just reaching up and she was going like that, you know,
Oh.
at the picture. And as time went on, you know, she she would she got to where she was waving more. She would lay in her crib and laugh and reach, over her crib and just laugh.
Hmm.
And we was all like, okay. Well, as she started talking, ta-ta, ta-ta, and everything.
Now, so let's back up just a little bit so our listeners understand. So your granddaughter was born after Todd gained his wings,
Two
right?
years.
So she had never met Todd.
Never. My sons all will tell everybody that she is Todd reincarnated.
Wow.
I mean, she is, oh, honey, she's just like him. She's just like my son
Yeah.
when he was little. and
So
everything.
so tell us a little bit more about like Todd. Like, what was his personality? Was he like a jokester? I know that you had
Oh
mentioned
yeah,
earlier that he was a hard worker. He had goals and
yeah,
dreams and wrote things down.
yes.
But was he a jokester type? Was he more a serious son? It
No,
sounds like he was very loving son.
he wasn't a serious son at all. I mean, he's the only one of my boys that I can get to dress up, you know, in outlandish costumes. I mean, he dressed as Raggedy Ann one time, and I was like, okay. He dressed as the Easter Bunny. All he had was the little ears and the the fluffy tail. Uh, we was all grilling out for Easter one year, and yeah, I got a picture of him. He's the Easter Bunny and stuff. He loved life, you know. I mean,
Oh.
his friends. I found out after he passed away. What I didn't know was there was a he had a friend that lived not too far from us, and they lived, or their grandmother either lived with them or they lived at their grandmother's.
Mm-hmm.
And Todd would go down there sometimes and just sit with her while they went and done errands or
Oh.
whatever. He would just go there and sit with her. And I said, I never knew that and
Oh.
everything.
That is
And
awesome.
to this day, I am totally shocked at people like when I go to events. I
Mm-hmm.
set my table up at events and everything for my group. And he people will come up, they'll go, that's Todd. And I'm
Oh.
like, yeah. I said, how did you know? "Oh, we went to school together, or just friends. And it was you. It's always been so far. I think there may have been one guy that has approached me about him and everything, but all the rest of them have been women, and I'm just looking at him like, why do I not have a grandchild by him? Because apparently the women, and I always do this, women
Yeah.
love Todd, but Todd he wasn't, he loved women too, but he wasn't
A womanizer.
not at all, not at all. If he was with you, he was with you, and that was it.
Absolutely.
And
That's awesome.
he didn't jump from one relationship to another either, because after it, if something happened between him and whoever he was seeing, then he didn't jump right into another relationship. He didn't go looking for him
Yeah,
and
he was
everything.
smart.
Yeah,
He was smart. He took his
yeah,
time and took care of himself first and then moved on into another relationship.
yep.
It
Everything.
is right now, it is 6:33. So before I open the phone lines, I just want to read a couple of comments for you
Oh,
that were
can
left
I tell
here.
you something real quick?
Sure.
I do have a group in his name, in his honor.
That's
Yeah,
really so.
yes,
Is the group on Facebook?
yes. It's called Wake. I can't get my camera over, but it's called Wake Up Before You Don't.
I like your shirt.
Yes, yes.
Now, is this group specifically geared towards those that have lost someone through fentanyl only, or?
No, no. Alcoholism, drugs, even violence. So I'm sure there's some in there that's in there because of violence and stuff.
Okay.
It's for grieving parents, grieving loved ones, anybody that
Well,
just needs to talk.
that's awesome. So it's kind of sounds similar to my group, because mine was initially set up for or created because, again, it's in honor of my son.
Right?
He was actually murdered.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, yeah, it was a gang initiation that involved an adult and two juveniles. The two juveniles was supposed to be his friend.
Yeah.
So yeah, so without going too much, into that, but my son was murdered. So the group was initially created for grieving mothers or dads that experience a loss through gun violence.
Right.
But of course, everyone was welcome because even though a violent death hits a little different, grief is grief, right?
Yes.
Losing a child is grief. So
Yes.
we welcome anybody,
That's
as you see, fentanyl, car
yeah.
accidents, health reason, murder, like just everything.
Yeah.
So we will have to get together and
Yes.
maybe cooperate or something, and because I believe we have the same goal, and that's to basically help other grieving moms and dads to get through it, because there's nothing worse than not having support. I was fortunate not to have to experience that because I've had tons of support between my children, my family, friends, and other groups that I attended. So I was really blessed. But there are moms and dads out there that don't have that.
Exactly.
So it's important that we have groups like this to give them a safe place to
Yes.
bond, to come and, talk about their grief, talk about their angel, vent, get angry, talk about good memories, anything, because all of that plays a part in our healing.
Yes.
So offline we'll talk about that and see
Okay.
what we can do to help one another out with that and get the word
Yes,
out.
ma'am.
So for now, let me just let you know we've had a few of our listeners that have some messages.
Okay.
And then so okay again, she says it's okay to cry. This is your baby. When you were mentioning earlier that you might cry. Again, like
Yeah.
I said, this is a no judgment zone. You
Yeah.
never have to worry about that. And then Crystal says, wow, what a feeling to get. And this is referring when you were saying how God spoke to you, when he basically took your son in his arms. And she said, you are so strong. And she said, I love your shirt. And speaking of
Thank you.
shirts, let me show you, because my daughter-in-law and my son, they have their own business. They do shirts and all kinds of stuff. So she made this for me. Let me see. I don't know how much. So it's for the group, the Grieving
Now, is
Mothers.
that the name of the group?
Yeah, it's a Grieving Mother's Journey. Yeah,
Okay.
Late Plan. And then I now have everybody a QR code. So I'm going to put this QR code on the group page so you don't have to search for the link anymore. You just go on this, it's going to take you right to YouTube. And then, of course, on the back, I don't know if I can do this, but so on the back, if you can see, is the phone number and the email address.
Ah.
Yeah, so that's big shout out to my daughter-in-law, Crystal, ENC Printing. And then let's see. Then Kay, she says, it's so sad how drugs can take someone instantly, and even more sad when the person really tries to fight it. Yes, indeed. Would you agree?
Yes. And
Yes, yeah.
my son did try to fight his addiction for 4 years prior to his death. In 2016, he had wrote a poem, but I wished I'd have brung it in here, and I could have read it to you.
Oh,
But
well, you're always welcome to come back for another episode. In
hey, I'll
fact,
be
how
glad
is
to. I'll
how
be happy
is
to.
how is your husband, and how is your husband taking this?
Well, he was Todd's stepdad, but
Okay, well,
he's
Dad,
still it hurts. He's taking it. He's
absolutely
took it bad. He helps me with the group. He supports
awesome,
me in anything I do concerning
awesome.
concerning this. And Todd's real dad, his biological father, he also supports us very
That
much
is
and
amazing.
everything.
So maybe one time, if he wants to, you know, share a little bit, because we welcome dads. We don't get many
Okay.
dads at all. And we actually got a message from one of the dads that were on here. He was, I think, he might have been my first guest. His name is Damien, and he says, I love you all. We love you too, Damien. Thank you so much for your support.
Love you,
Um,
David.
and Kimberly, she was supposed to be the other guest this evening. Kimberly, thank you for joining. And don't worry, no worries. We can still have you on. I'm booked for next week, but maybe the week after. We'll see how that goes. But we would love for you to share your story. Deborah, Kimberly also, she lost 2 children from fentanyl.
Oh, so sorry,
Yeah.
Kimberly.
Yeah,
So
but she
sorry.
says, wow, crafting is what I've been doing also and have a booth. That's amazing, Kimberly. That's amazing.
Yes.
So, finding something, finding that niche to kind of channel your energy into
Yep.
something positive. That's
Yep.
amazing, Kimberly. We can talk about that when you appear in the show. And then Kay says, yes, shirt. And then both of your shirts are nice. And
Thank
then
you.
Kimberly says, no, only one child from fentanyl died, which was my oldest. I'm so sorry, Kimberly. Correction, everybody. She had one child. But so, Kimberly, you had two that died, but only one from fentanyl, correct? All right. So it is 6:40. I don't want to take up too much time. I do want to give our listeners the opportunity to call in and speak with you. Excuse me. I'm just trying to figure out where my hair is here. It's kind of like mirrored, it's backwards. Everyone that's listening, thank you so much for joining and participating and just supporting all of our grieving moms and dad. You don't know how much that means to everyone. And by the way, everybody, I don't know, I'm sure you can see, I forgot to mention, this is a little new, Deborah, because this is kind of the program that I use has some new features. And one of them is to be able to put the photo up. So everyone, the photo that's on the top corner in Deborah's screen, that is her son. That's the one that we are speaking about. That's Todd. So, and then Kimberly did answer correct. Okay, Kimberly, I apologize for that. So the phone lines are open, guys. Feel free to call in and, share anything with our guest, Deborah, whether it's, words of encouragement or whether you have a question. Feel free to call in. The number scrolling at the bottom of the screen. So go ahead, give us a call, show a little bit of support to Deborah. And that would be amazing. And while we're waiting for callers, don't forget, guys, next week is for our significant others, our spouses, so forth and so on. If you do have a spouse that you've lost, girlfriend, boyfriend, or just call it significant other, what have you, feel free to be a guest if you'd like to be a guest. The guest that we do have is will be here in the studio live, so there'll be room for someone to come on virtually, and we can all talk about that. And we do have a caller, Deborah. So give me 1 second. Hello, thank you for calling Grieving Mother's Journey. Who am I speaking with?
This is Kimberly.
Hi, Kimberly. How are you?
I'm blessed. Thank you for asking.
Awesome. Thank you so much for calling in and participating. We appreciate you.
Well, I just wanted to let you know that the lady that you have on right now, I can actually see she's hurt. She's really hurt because I feel the same thing with my son also. It's devastating to know that fentanyl has taken all of our children's lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a whole generation that's going.
Never that I'm raising our children ever, never. But to go on everyday society, it's horrible, and I don't see how. There's days I can't even get up out of bed, or I mask it with doing something else, and I did that lady there on TV. I don't know her name. I'm sorry, I didn't catch it, but I kind of connected with her when she said she kind of kept busy crafting and stuff, and that's what I do. That's exactly what I do.
Awesome.
And I work, and I'm going to go to sleep because I want to be able to wake up, but I just don't know more. I'm scared, I guess.
It's okay. It's
I'm
okay
in a
to be scared.
And and of course I lost my other son also, and I'm grieving them both at the same way now, and it's like pouring salt into a wound. But then again, this one was drugs and the other one was a bad car accident, but it's still the same.
Yeah, they're still gone, still our babies, right?
No, I always be my babies, always.
Absolutely. Yep, they're always going to be our babies. We just have one or two with wings.
Yep.
Yes, and I thought with my boys and stuff, and it seems to keep me calm and stuff. But I don't know how she's doing it and getting on TV, getting on my thoughts. I don't know if I can do it, but I'm willing to try. But every time I go, he came up, kind of tearjerker, and
Yeah, it's
um,
okay.
I don't know if I'm ever going to get over it. I doubt it, but um, there's more to my story than everybody really wants to know. But we're trying to connect the dots now. But I think that Fentanyl's murder. It's not, and yes, my son had a choice in the matter, and yes, I'm going to honor that just like she's honoring hers, because mine had something to do with the family member also. So
Now,
therefore, yeah,
now you lost your son. You lost one of them as recent as 2023, correct?
right, and that was my oldest, Jeremiah, and that was the fentanyl overdose, and he had enough fentanyl in his system to kill over 4 people his size.
Oh,
Wow.
jeez.
Yeah. So therefore, and when I found him, I knew when I seen him, I rigor mortis set in.
Oh,
I'm a so I thought he was down. I thought he had left to go to church with his wife, his ex-wife. They just got a divorce, and she said, "You clean yourself up." He said, "Well, you stay sober." Blah blah blah. We'll go on a date. Well, she wanted to take him to church because that's something they really enjoyed doing.
hmm.
And um, so I'm up there just cleaning the house, all back home, listening to music. I go downstairs and I turn and I seen him on the floor and I seen his skin and I lost. I don't know how she's holding up, but I just felt calm. Something just came over me. But I ran upstairs to get my sister. I said, "Go get Jeremiah. He's not moving. He's dead." And she's like, "What?" And that's when everything took place. So therefore, I stayed calm because of my daughter. I only have my daughter now left and my grandchildren, but I had to stay calm for those kids. That was still,
Yeah, and that's really difficult, but that's as mothers, we get that strength from being moms. Now,
right.
Deborah, where it's been about 4 years for you, is
Yeah.
there anything that you could, maybe any suggestions that you could offer Kimberly to kind of help her through this process?
Get involved in your community. Here in Knoxville, I don't know where you're at, but here in Knoxville, we've got a thing called Metro Drug Coalition. And since I went down there and talked with them, and it's run by all of it's run by recovering addicts
Awesome.
that's been in
Okay.
recovery for years, and
News story on that. That's another topic on that part as far as recovering, and sobriety and stuff like that for me.
right.
But and then the funeral home offered me grieving counseling and stuff like that for 13 months at free of course. But I've been doing a lot of, this is where I get on Facebook and I'm in a lot of groups now and I'm starting to get out there and talk about it. I used to
Good.
not be able to talk about it, but that seems to help a little bit, but to get out and go, it's really hard for me to get out and go because when I go down the street, it
Yeah.
just can hit me every time and I'll stop the car and pull it over and just
Yeah,
start crying.
yeah,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
hard to, yeah, it's hard. Did you find that too, Deborah? Just
Honey,
going places, getting motivated to even do anything.
before Todd passed, I had been like a shut-in for like 10 years. I only went to the store maybe once every 2 or 3 months, maybe.
Mm,
Uh, I never left my house. I would always come up with an excuse because I had real bad anxiety.
mm-hmm.
And so I would just stay at the house. But Todd was always trying to get me to go somewhere. And I had promised him, well, I promised his spirit, let's say, I guess, when he passed, I said, "Todd, Mom's going to get out of the house and I said, I'm going to start doing things." I said, "I'm going to show you how strong I am."
Oh,
And
you
then
just,
COVID hit, of course, so that kept me in for 2 more years. But after that, it was on, and I've been going ever since and stuff.
well,
Well, I to the point to where I've even called a medium. It's like a psychic,
Uh huh.
because some other things, that was on his phone and stuff. I need
Where'd you go? Hello. I lost you. I lost you. I'm not leaving.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't even realize
There you are.
yeah, my computer was unplugged, and all of a sudden it was like battery low, and I disappeared. My gosh, I was like, no. But, okay, so it is 6:51. There's a lot of comments coming in here. Kimberly, thank you so much for your phone call. Don't forget, we would still love to have you on as a guest to share more of your story. Let me know when you're ready. Remember, this is a no judgment, no pressure zone. So whenever you're ready, we are not going anywhere. We'll be here for you. Okay. But I just want to give.
Tell Kimberly to come join my group too.
Yes, I was going to mention that too. Yes. So Kimberly, Deborah also has a group which is more geared towards, fentanyl, like she said, alcoholism. Of course, everyone is welcome, but there's like a. Okay. Yes. Yes. Wake up before you don't. All right. So well, I'm going to let you go and read these comments to Deborah, and hopefully, allow some time for another caller. But thank you so much. And we're going to keep you in prayer and just continue with our groups here. We're here for you. Okay. You're very welcome. Bye.
Nice to meet you, Kimberly.
Wow, that was amazing. All right, so there's some more comments here. I saw a lot of them coming in. All right, so Kay, she actually mentioned this to you as well, Kimberly, if you're still listening. She says, Kimberly, I'm so sorry for both of your losses. I wish people would stop selling this crap, knowing what it can do to people. Yes, indeed. I actually lost a niece as well that was dealing with fentanyl, so I can relate to that as well. What is, give her 1 second. Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, yeah, it was my computer died. Thank you. And hello, Kevin. We have a Kevin Farrington on. Thank you for joining. I appreciate your support. I hope that you have enjoyed our podcast so far. And if you're a grieving dad, we would absolutely love to have you as a guest. I don't get many. I ask for dads all the time. But if not, and you're just here for support, that's awesome too. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. So if anybody else, it's 6:53. We have a few more minutes left. If anyone else would like to, oh, hold on. It looks like more comments. These comments are busy today. I'm so sorry, Deborah.
That's
Goodness.
okay.
Okay, Jaleesa, she says, welcome back. Thank you. Then she says, Mrs. Deborah, your handsome angel is with you and is very proud of your strength to get out of the house. Thank you for all you are doing for other individuals. And then Kay says, welcome, Kevin.
Thank you.
Yes, we have great support, great support. And I can't wait to dive in and hear a little bit more about your group, and, we can go from there. But if anyone else would like to call in and give her some words of encouragement, or, a big thank you, or for basically, it takes a lot, to come in and to go live, just like Kimberly was saying, it's really hard for her. It does take a lot. It took me a while too, after the loss of my son. It was like, no, just get away from me type thing, and even when I did my first show, I can't remember her name, but it was a friend of mine when we were doing the urban radio back in the day. My daughter and I went on, and it was hard. We did it, but it was very emotional. And believe it or not, it's still new for me. It's just been a little over 2 years for me. I lost
Yeah.
my son in 2022, so it hasn't been that long. But I get my strength from God, and I get my strength from my son and my
I do.
kids, family. They keep me going and keep me young.
Yep.
So
I've got
going
a
back
huge
to
support.
your spouse and your other sons, they are more than welcome at any time if they want to come on, or and speak, and just, it's therapeutic for me and a lot of
Yeah.
our members. For some it may not be, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And just let your sons know, we also have a specific chat group just for siblings. Kay and Crystal, they head that up. I lost my brother too, but I leave that just for the siblings. So because
Yeah.
again, grief is grief, but the type of death they all hit different.
Yes.
So a sibling is grieving differently from us moms,
Yeah.
and a sibling can relate to each other. So they are more than welcome if they want to join that. No one else can go in there and have it where you have to be a sibling to be in that chat group.
Okay.
And then if your husband ever wants to speak, he is more than welcome. Oh, you have my email address. You have the phone number here. Just hit me up and we'll make it happen.
I sure will. I sure will.
All right, guys. So it's 6:56. We have a couple more moments. Does anybody want to call in and just give her some kudos? That would be great. Please give us a call, 571-409-3400. It's scrolling at the bottom of the screen, as well as the email address. And we are on episode 15, Fentanyl Took My Baby. Don't forget, next week, it's going to be an awesome episode. And again, if there's anyone out there that would like to share the story on that, if you are a husband, wife, significant other, girlfriend, boyfriend, and experiencing grief due to that loss, you are more than welcome to come onto the platform and share your story with others. Last but not least, don't forget, put it on your calendar, October 27th. Dr. Adia will be back, and she will be speaking on forgiveness. It's going to be an amazing topic. So would you like to share anything else, Deborah, before we go?
I just appreciate being given the chance. This is something I've always wanted to do, is a podcast and everything.
Awesome.
I wanted to start my own podcast, but I have no idea how to do it, so I haven't
I
done
can help you with that. When you're ready, I'll be glad to
it.
help you with that.
I love helping other people. Like I say,
Same here.
that's the
Same.
way to get through grief. I mean, I
Absolutely.
lost my brother September 29th a year ago this month,
Oh my
and everything
gosh.
when I was taken care of. And
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the one
yeah, he died the day after my birthday. All the doctors said, "What's he waiting on?" Because he was in a coma. And I said, "He's waiting on my birthday to pass." They said, "Huh?" I said, "Yep." I said, "We've always spent our birthdays together." And I said, "That's all he's waiting on." So at 11 o'clock at night on the 28th, I gave him a kiss and told him, I said, "I love you, brother." I said, "But it's time for you to go home." I said, "Go see Mama, go see Todd and
Yeah.
everybody." And
Oh,
Todd stood by his bed the whole time that he was going downhill for the last 6 months. Those
goodness.
last 6 months when he was
Right.
on hospice. And he would tell me, "Todd's right here." I'd go, "All right, well, hi, Todd." And I used to tell myself, "I wished I could see inside your mind." I said, "It's got to be glorious of the people that you see." You know, he had
Yeah.
dementia there at the last. But like I said, I kissed him goodnight and told him I loved him. And I said, "I'm going to bed." I said, "My birthday's over." And I said, "It's time for you to go home." And I went to bed. My husband woke me up 3 hours later and told me, he said, "Come on, he's gone." I said, "Okay." And I was at ease with it because I knew my brother needed to go, you know.
Right. He was probably tired, and he's
Oh,
that.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. He was very tired.
Well, it
What?
doesn't look like we're going to get any callers, but I just wanted to give
Okay.
you some words of encouragement.
Okay.
You're amazing, and I so appreciate you coming on and telling your story. I love the fact that you are doing something positive in honor of your son with the group and all of that. It's very rewarding, which I'm sure that by having the group. And I just want to thank you for that. And I'm sure your group members are thankful as well. And all of your group members are willing to, not willing, they're welcome to join my group. And all of my members, if you're listening, you're more than welcome to join Deborah's group as well. The more the merrier, right?
Yeah. Yes.
That just means more bonding and more support and more help.
Exactly.
We have to have that. We have to stay together because grief, it's not going to go away. It's not.
No.
We just learn how to navigate through it. And the more support you have, the easier that navigation can be.
Yeah. But we do have a member in common. She introduced me. She was the one that sent me the link to yours because she was supposed to have been doing this, not me tonight.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
But
Okay,
understand.
well, who was this?
The one that was supposed to be on instead of me.
Okay, you're talking about Kimberly?
Jackie.
Or are you talking about the original?
Yes, the original one, Jackie.
Oh, that's awesome that she
Yep.
shared that with you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jackie, if you're listening.
I hope she is listening because Jackie, I love you, girl. And I try to talk to her as much as possible.
She's having a really hard time. I
Yes,
could just
she
tell
is.
she's talking with her over the phone, a very hard time.
Yeah.
So that's why, I understand. Again, no pressure. No pressure.
Yeah.
I get it. We are all in the same boat, right? We're all
Yeah.
grieving over the loss of a child. So
Right.
I get it. I get it. But when she's ready,
She will.
then when she's ready.
We got to give her time and everything. And she knows she can come by the house anytime. She knows me. We know each other personally.
Awesome. Awesome.
We have for years.
Okay, yeah. So just let her know from me. I did try to call and let her know. I think one of her concerns was, not being on TV. It's not really TV. It's just like a live on Facebook, but it's, but I just wanted to assure her that it's not going to be on TV.
I'll let her know. I'll talk with her.
All right. Well, it is 7:00. Actually, it's 7:02. So we are going to get ready to end this podcast. And Kay says, "Great show, ladies. You are amazing. Thank you, Kay."
Thank you.
It was great having you.
I can't wait to come back.
Yeah, stay in the group. We can, chat in the group and support one another and support our other members. And I definitely will probably touch base with you tomorrow. I'm off tomorrow. I have a doctor's appointment in the afternoon, but I'll touch base with you tomorrow so we can kind of talk about, the group thing.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good to me. So I'm going to get off here and go play with my grandkids.
Thank you.
Enjoyed our episode this week. Be sure to tune in next Sunday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Or how young children will forever be our babies. We'll just have one with wings. Be gentle with yourself and take all the time you need to heal. Thanks for joining. Good night.
Thank you, Deborah. Have a good night, everybody.
You too. Thank you. Bye. Love you.